So hey, welcome back guys. This week we're going to be working on the Corolla, my 97. For some of y'all who are new, haven't seen it, we're going to be doing a transmission filter and a transmission fluid change. I have not done one on these type of cars before, so it's going to be kind of a learning process for you and for me. In addition to that, to some of you ones that have been here for a little bit, set you guys up a little bit. I'm rocking a new t-shirt today. Now the last one we had, it just had on the front. Now we got it on the back as well. There you go. So new t-shirt, really happy with the design of it. But yeah, but let's get into the actual video and let's get to work. So for this particular car, it's going to be a little bit different than most of your traditional cars. Here I have my filter with my gasket for the transmission pan, and then I have my transmission fluid right here. If you're not sure what type goes in your car, flip these around to the back half of it. You can look right there. Recommended use 4N, and it'll tell you all the different ones that you can use it for. So I kind of already pre-planned for this. I've already got the car jacked up in the air. I got my mat down, and so if we get underneath the front end of the car here, get you guys setting a little bit low. Right here is my transmission pan, and if you notice, for some of y'all that know, most transmission pans don't have a drain plug. Well, mine does, so I'm going to be utilizing that. And then if you're not sure what type of filter or gasket you need, or what type that you have, you can reference your owner's manual, or you can just simply go to your local parts house, and they should be able to tell you what you need. Such as mine, as an example, my particular car runs 3 different type of transmission pans, a 14 bolt, a 15 bolt, and I think a 12 bolt. So you can just get underneath of it, and you can actually count the bolts around it, and that'll tell you how many bolts that you have, or what type of transmission you have based on the pan. So for this, I've already got my drain pan underneath of it. This actually takes a specialty type of deal, so you actually have an Allen wrench. I decided to go with the actual socket. For this one, it's a 10 millimeter. So we're just going to go ahead, and I'm going to use a breaker bar on this because I don't know how tight it is. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. There we go. Once you get it broke free, you can just utilize a regular ratchet for these. So I'm gonna go ahead and start getting this prepped to drain. There we go. I don't know if you guys can see that. You can kind of see how dark that is. That's not good. That's not what you want to really see. It's not horrible, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know if this has ever been changed. When I acquired this car, it had 96,000 miles on it. We're now sitting at 152,000 miles, so I'm pretty confident in the fact that it's never been changed ever. We're gonna find out what kind of damage we're actually into, though. I was a dummy and decided to forget gloves today, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this drained. Try to stay as clean as possible, but I also don't know how hot this is. The car's been sitting for a little bit, but it's still pretty warm. So I think if I just get that dropped like that, we got a pretty good flow going on. I think I'm just going to leave that alone for a moment. So we'll let that drain for a few minutes. hopefully it'll catch up while it's doing it. I think I showed y'all these, or I did show you these in the last video. Get you some of those good quality hyper wipes. Good product, good for cleaning your hands, cleaning up spills, all kinds of good stuff. Super good product. I've used these on just about anything that I could think of. I really like them. They work really, really well. You can pick these up at most local retailers. If not, you can pick them up off of hyperwipes.com. Like I said, check them out. It's a good product. So now while it's kind of draining, I'd like to go ahead and start figuring out the actual pan bolt size for this. I believe it's probably a 10. Based on the size of it. I'll just try it on one of those. Yep, it is a 10. So I don't know how tight these are, so I am going to be utilizing breaker bar for the majority of the part. For the majority of it, just to get them broke loose, and it makes it a little bit easier as well. I'm going to try to go ahead and unscrew this all the way, see if I can just get that to drop like that. Get me a sample of that. And I don't know if you guys can kind of see, it looks a lot darker in person, so it might not look that bad. You can see it dripping down my finger how dark it actually is. Not what we really wanted to see, but there was not too long ago that I did put some transmission fluid flush in it to help kind of cycle through and get some of the yucky out of it. So we'll see how it turns out. Hopefully it's not too bad, and I don't imagine we could be doing any, wouldn't imagine that we could hurt it any worse. So if you're curious as to why I'm really doing this, it's just a try me type of thing. Plus, like I said, you can't really hurt it. Car runs absolutely perfect. Idle's great, but when you put it down into reverse or drive or first or second, has a little bit of a kind of a vibration through the steering wheel, and you can eliminate a bunch of processes by checking plugs, checking wires, mass airflow sensors, check all that, make sure that's good. And in my case, I basically have did full-blown tune-up on this car and went through and did a bunch of stuff and a bunch of old stuff that normally you wouldn't mess with, and this was kind of the last thing that I had to do, so I thought, why not go ahead and give it a shot. I know this car needs a torque converter, but we're going to try to milk it out for as long as we can. So I think while it's draining, I'm going to go ahead and start getting a little ahead of myself here and see if I can't get some of these loosened. They don't seem to be very tight at all. I don't want to loosen them so much that they're dripping. I just want to loosen them enough to where I could just take a ratchet to it from that point on. And like I said earlier, in my case, most of these are a 14 bolt. Some of them are actually kind of already loose. There is a torque pattern. Everything for a transmission pan is in inch pounds. It's not in foot pounds. It's not in newton meters or any of that good stuff. I don't actually have a torque wrench that does inch pounds. All of mine do foot pounds, so it's going to be by hand in a certain sequence to the best of my ability. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to go ahead get these loosened up, let it finish draining, and then I'll start taking the pan off, and then I'll get back with you guys. Okay, so now I'm to the point of what I did is I took all the bolts out except for two. I have one in the front, one in the back. Very, very loose, but just enough to catch the pan. So now what I want to do is what you would do is if you didn't have a drain plug, of course you wouldn't be able to do like I just did, but this would be more under the premise of if you had a drain plug, or not a drain plug. So what you would do, take all your bolts out except for two, one at the back, one at the front, and then put your a drain pan underneath of it, and then you're just going to basically start going around the edges of this, and you're going to want to, like, not really pry, but just kind of start doing a separation type of thing with it. This happens to have little pieces here. I wouldn't put a lot of pressure on it, but it wouldn't hurt to put some on it. There we go. We found a good point for it to give away. Now you'll start to see it start to pour more of that fluid out, just like that. And that's what you would do if you didn't have an actual drain plug, is you would actually have to take and loosen it like that and then slowly work it off. So now I think that it's barely dripping. I'm gonna try to get back here and get the one bolt off that I had in it out, and see if I can't just make this gently come down. Okay, so now I've got that bolt loose. I'm going to try to separate it from the pan, and then I'm going to hold the pan, and I'm actually going to get the front bolt out as well. If I actually drop the bolt right now, it won't matter, because I have it underneath my drain pan. So it seems to be held in there by the gasket, so now we're completely loose. Try to go ahead and pour out as much of that as I possibly can while under here. Okay. So now, let me get something to wipe my hands with. Get one of these good quality hyper wipes. So now, grab you guys, and now we can kind of see. Oh, kind of dropped you guys a little bit, sorry. So now, this would be the time that you'd want to look at your pan, see what it all looks like. We can see there's a little bit of metal, if it would focus, right there. And then of course you have your magnet right there, but look how thick that is. That's all metal from this magnet right here. That's all metal from that magnet. So that's not what I wanted to see at all. Yeah, that's really not what I wanted to see. And there's our actual magnet. We can actually pop it up if we want. Probably pop it off. Yeah, not too excited about that at all. So I think what I'm gonna do now is, one, I want to get this off, hopefully in one layer. It appears to be an old cork gasket. if we can get that off in one unit without it tearing or sticking to anything, then that'll make reinstallation job a lot easier, because then we don't have to scrape and all of that good stuff. It seems to be coming off pretty good. I guess in a pinch you could probably reuse this. I'm not going to unless I absolutely have to, in case there was an error. So I'm going to try not to tear it if I can, just on the off chance that there was an error made by the manufacturer, and where I got my actual transmission fluid kit from. Let me sit you guys down over here and we'll try to get this loose here. Alright, let's see if I can go ahead and get that all the way off of there now. I think my bolt is willing to come out now, so that's a plus. I'm going to just take my time and peel it up real slow. So now I want to show you guys. Here's one magnet right there, and I mean you can see just by touching it how, but look, here's another one. Watch. It's just caked on with metal shavings. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my oil drain pan, set you guys up. I was able to get that magnet off. See if I can get this one off. Perfect. Good old microfiber. Start wiping this out to the best of my ability. I don't think we'll have any issues with resealing. Don't think that'll be a concern for us at all. I'm going to stick those right there for now. I'm going to offset the transmission pan. And then I want to crawl up under here and see what we got going on in here. So we'll get you guys set back up under here too. And then as soon as I get under, then I'll get you guys back up here and a better view of that. So now, here's my transmission, and then this right here is what we're going to be taking off. So it looks like 1, 2, maybe 2 or 3 bolts. But instead of just popping that off, let's get our actual filter out, and we're going to base it off of that before we tear it too far apart. We're going to go ahead. So it looks like we got 3 bolts, 2 there, 1 down there. There's our screen. So just as a comparison, looks like based off of that, we should be like that. So we know we have that one right there. Get the new one out of the way for the moment. And then we know we're gonna have one here and then one somewhere over next to it. So normally I would try to keep these in order. I just don't know if it's going to be completely possible or not, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. If you took your car to a mechanic shop, they're not going to go through all that effort, so I don't think I'm going to either. I don't do like me, probably go ahead and actually focus on where your bolts go, try to keep them where they were. As you can see, we're still kind of dripping a little bit, but I want to be able to crawl up in here just a little, kind of see what we got going on. We'll go ahead and pop this filter loose. Start that like that. We'll leave that one there. Like I said, we should have two more somewhere. I see them. Okay, so one here and then one on the back corner. And then as you can see, as we loosened that, that started to actually flow a lot better, which for me is good. I want to get as much out of here as physically possible, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this one all the way. Like I said, I don't know what they actually recommend for you to maybe spray something in here to clean it off or not. I'm just gonna simply wipe it down the best I can, because I'd rather just wipe it down the best I can and then not damage anything, versus spraying carb cleaner, brake cleaner, something like that in here and then having a whole headache to deal with. I feel it starting to jiggle now. I think I'm gonna go ahead and loosen that back one as well. I want to keep that in kind of place so I can kind of see what's going on. It's still pouring pretty good, so I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say don't change transmission fluid. I've heard some people change it. There's recommendations that I've seen that says to only replace part of your transmission fluid, replace all of it. I don't know. So I think under that premise, I'm just gonna go to this point and call it good. Okay, so now I'm curious of what that looks like, so I want to go ahead and bring it out too. If I can lift it, there we go. I don't care if it gets on this, that's fine. So then, I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's just from picking it up. Y'all can see all the, that's all metal. So something in there is not good for sure. I don't think it should look like that. Let me get my rag. So yeah, that's not good. This is the old one. And you can just see how much stuff I'm wiping off from it. That's all metal shavings that have just been sitting inside this transmission all this time. See what the screen, there's the bottom of it, look. It's not good. It's not good at all. I don't think we're gonna do it a lot of good at this point. I don't think we're gonna do it much harm either at this point, to be honest. There's so much metal shavings in it, it's almost gonna be, well, it's not gonna be good. We're just gonna say that it's definitely not gonna be good. So we know that's the old one, so now all we got to do is just reverse it and put everything back how it was. So what I would like to do beforehand is set you guys up something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and clean out this pan, and all I'm gonna do to do that, get all this stuff out of the way. I'm gonna bring it over here like this. I'm just gonna kind of hold it at like that, and then I'm just gonna kind of spray it down. Like that, and then I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the bottom too. Get as much off from it as I possibly can. That looks pretty clean now, so I'm going to set it up here out of the way and let it kind of air dry. Let it do its own thing. And now I think we're pretty much done with that drain pan. So now what I want to do is kind of come up under here, kind of do a visual inspection to the best of my ability. Just kind of wipe everything down the best I can, and then just start throwing it back together. So I'm not going to do a bunch. I'm just going to briefly wipe down, and I'm just gonna right inside there. I'm not gonna do a lot. I mainly just want to clean this edge surface to the best of my ability, and then I'm just gonna leave this guy alone. Just like that. Try to clean up a little bit in here or there. Not really going to touch a lot. I just want to kind of dribble off as I can, what have you. Solid surfaces I might wipe down a little bit better. Loose, sketchy surfaces, I'm just going to dab them. Dab, 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 dab. I'm gonna call that good. And now we're just gonna go ahead, get that drain pan out of the way. And just like before, we're gonna start putting it back together. So get our new guy right here. Cork end up first. Line all that up. Make sure everything sits in there nice and good. Crawl up under here a little bit. Get my hose started. That's one. I'm gonna try not to touch that screen. I want to make sure that hole is lined up for sure. Once you get this started, you don't want to. You want to try not to drop it or move it or shift it or anything, so that once it's in, once that cork is lined up, so now I'm going to hold that solid there. So it can't move. Tighten that joker up as tight as I can by hand. Might leave that one a little loose. Come under here and hold it tight. I'm gonna grab my socket. And my extension, so I can have a little bit of grip because I don't have much. Start tightening this joker down. Again, I'm sure there's a torque spec for it. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna leave that guy there. Come to the front. Tighten this joker down. Okay. And then last bolt for it in the corner. We're going to assume that we got that seated properly. Grab my ratchet, tighten these down. I'm just going to try to feel for it the best I can. So that's one final pass over the transmission pan. So now I'm going to get the gasket put on and then I'll show you guys what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and run a little small bead of gasket maker around this guy just to kind of help secure it down. Small bead. Run it around. I'm not looking for a lot here. I'm gonna let the gasket do the work. Alright, so I went ahead and I got my gasket back on. I did use a little bit of gasket maker just to be able to kind of tack it in place. I'm gonna let that kind of set up for a second, stick it back under the car, start putting the bolts in, and then we'll pretty much be done. As soon as I get to that point, I'll get right back with you. Alright, so I already went ahead, and as you can kind of tell, it's getting late outside. It's getting kind of dark, so it's getting hard to see, especially up underneath of that. So I did go ahead and get the pan back on, and I decided to use this as a reference for you. So when you're putting your bolts back in, what I did is I stuck one here, one there, one over here, and then got it started, and then I started putting all the other ones in. And what I would do is I would go here, 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 and then I do corner, 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 and then do middle, like one of the middles that you haven't touched. Do that in a diamond or in a star pattern all the way around until you get it tight. And then on the last two passes, what I did, I went ahead and went in order all the way around the circumference of the pan. Did that a couple of times. Like I said, not a lot of torque on them, and then basically I just got to fill it up with transmission fluid, and then you'll start it up, have somebody inside hold the brake, put it down in gear, check the fluid level, and keep doing that until basically you get it pretty much level. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you were at least got some type of entertainment out of it. As always, I appreciate you guys coming back time after time. Like, share, and subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing to subscribe. Doesn't take you but a few seconds just to hit the little buttons down in the notification or down below the screen here. And let's get this blasted to the world. Let's try to grow this channel. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.